the Harlequins, aka the really tan, the really tan, the real tan, or however Games Workshop actually thought to pronounce that. Well, the Harlequins, also known as the Space Clowns of the 41st millennium, are a subfaction of the Eldari, previously known as the Eldar. These murder clowns take the blame it on the boogie to a whole new level while dancing around slicing up anyone who opposes them. Well, back in the day, before the fall of the Eldar, these Harlequins performed theatrical, interpretive dances trying to show their Eldar fellows that their lifestyle might be taking it a bit too far. Some would call their lifestyle debaucherous. But whatever the case, this did not spark joy, and quite often actually resulted in hostile reactions from the audience, forcing the Harlequins to learn how to fight. A bit of back and forth, you know? At the actual fall of the Eldar Empire, the birth of Slaanesh, the laughing god Sekarak, or Kekarak, however you want to pronounce that, felt sorry for the clowns and saw his chance at getting his own set of rare, collectible, out-of-production Eldar by saving them from Slaanesh's munchies. Now, how does a god do this? Well, first of all, it's a god. Second of all, you take your new toys and you put them in your mother's handbag in the form of the webway where no one will find them. Sekarak then sat back with his new toys in his mother's handbag, hiding in his closet while laughing at the suffering of the main bulk of the Eldar species, because that's the kind of thing Eldar and their gods find fun. Mass extinction, aka your run-of-the-mill friendly prank. Yeah, Eldar. At present, the Harlequins frolic around their so-called Great Stage, in the form of the infinitely complex multidimensional webway, like it's a piece of cake to navigate. They do navigate it for a reason, and they do have a few purposes. Firstly, and probably the most important purpose or task, is to be the defenders of the Black Library. You gotta keep those writers pumping out books for people to read, you know? They don't write themselves. Secondly, they look for other Eldar so they can show them their new sick dance moves. In practical terms, this interpretive dancing and performing leads to the Harlequins acting as messengers between the splintered remnants of the Eldar Empire. So, pretty practical. Thirdly, they prowl the webway, hunting for Slaaneshi demons and followers of Slaanesh, inside and outside the webway, because Harlequins have a hard-on for turning the followers of Slaanesh into mincemeat. In the actual miniatures games, this frolicking around the webway is reflected in their ability to ignore terrain while moving, and as well as their inability to get hit by bullets while they're not in real space. So, they physically walk through the walls and phase out of existence while they're in the path of a bullet. Gaming wise, they are fast, built to hit, difficult to hit, pack quite a punch and are squishy. Weight of firepower and flamers? Yeah, they're the bane of a Harlequin player's existence. Speaking from experience on that one. A Harlequin company, now we're back in the lore, not in the game. A Harlequin company is known as a mask, and these masks have names that are so edgy that you'll cut yourself on them. 3 quick examples could be the Shattered Mirage, the Weeping Dawn, or the Dance Without End. Yeah. Edgy. Well, the masks are generally structured around a so-called troop master who leads the mask. He, she, it is then supported by a psychically hypersensitive clown known as a Shadow Seer, as well as an insane sniper clown with the edgy name of a Death Jester. For the main bulk of the mask, you'll find a few squads of so-called troops who are often transported, along with the aforementioned, in so-called Starweavers. Now, some of these Starweaver transports have big guns mounted on their roofs, turning them into Voidweavers, and all of this is then supported by some way too speedy Skyweaver jet bikes. Now, all of this weaving probably has you confused, and it always has everyone who doesn't play Harlequins confused. It's fair. Once in a while, this mask is then joined by a solitaire. Though no one really likes the solitaire. Yeah. In the great theatrical piece of the Harlequin existence, the solitaire always gets to play the role of Slaanesh. And Harlequins hate Slaanesh. It's the bad guy. So, it is the Hugo Weaving or Christopher Lee of the Harlequins. They are, however, really good at their job, and they hit like a ton of bricks while moving at supersonic speed. So, they're tolerated by the other Harlequins. Well, that's the Harlequins, the Space Clans, in short order.